consider starting today, because if you took a step today, by Friday you wouldn't be in the same space. And of course, by the end of this year, that is 31st December 2023, you'd definitely be in a different space. Yes, I woke up with a lot of positivity this morning, and I'm hoping that you're also positive and you will go through this week with positivity. And speaking of positivity, there is someone here who looks amazingly beautiful. New hair, everything. Good morning, Chantal.
I thought you were talking about new hair. You were talking about Chiramo.
No.
Why is that happening? Shall I
Good morning, Olive.
How are you this morning? You look beautiful.
Thank you very much. You know, I usually say Mondays for violence. Unfortunately for Robert.
Too early in the week.
No problem. In the Uganda street.
But good morning, our dearest viewers. Thank you for joining us. It is a fresh week, my friend, as you can see. Fresh, like a
fresh.
problem.
Everything
Welcome
is
to
fresh.
the show.
Well, I love to see beautiful things, and definitely the minute I walked in, I was like, whoa, what is that? I love the look. I love the new look, and it shows me that you're ready for the festivities.
Why are they putting me on there?
No, we are happy, and we are going into the happiest month of all. And also, I am excited because finally, grasshoppers are allowed to go to Masaka.
Oh my God.
Good morning, Sonko.
Good morning.
Grasshoppers and
you know,
Sonko.
when you mentioned grasshoppers, I remember last week.
Yes.
I tested grasshoppers for the first time.
In your life or in the year?
No, this year.
Oh.
When Monica mentioned something yesterday about the fact that, well, it does seem like we're going to have a very fruitful December when it comes to grasshoppers. And I'm a very big fanatic of the same. So when you say they've finally reached Masaka, the Masaka business people were excited, by the way, because they were already setting their traps since the start of November. And it did not reap good news for them in the first 1 to 3 weeks of November. But now, they can easily say they are going to earn some good money off it. But anyways, good morning, Monica, and good morning to our dear Ugandans, especially those in Masaka as well.
Oh, wow. You've not gone extended to Western Uganda. But
Those ones were the first to receive the
they received greetings even in silence.
Oh my
Good morning,
goodness.
Mr. Chirabo Roberts.
A lovely morning to you. I must say, Chantal looks more girlish this morning.
Oh, wow.
You know.
That is to mean what?
You know, the hairstyle was a bit unisex, if I may use that word.
Oh my goodness.
But now this is typical girlish. And of course, there's been... Now I see. I want to thank...
Now you see the light at the end of the tunnel.
I just want to thank that Mr. somewhere.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, who is making things of late change so much. Yes.
And you're right, they normally
I'm saying
say
them
girls
changed so
changing.
much in the more feminine than she was last time. So there is a Mr. somewhere.
If we see you one day dressed in a different manner, we shall say you have a new cut.
If you see me...
Thank you very much,
Let me just
Sonko.
give you
Very well said.
If you see me one day dressing like Professor Simeon Kaiwa,
Oh,
No,
wow.
but
you know how he dresses?
You know, you shouldn't let people dictate how you should dress, really.
Guys,
It is supposed to be a you thing.
Stray bullets this morning, the professors.
I say demanded surveillance,
Mondays
but
for
I just
violence, we
admire
can
his
see
dress
that.
code. At that age, he's so stylish. So if I get to dress that way, I begin copying that wonderful style of my very good friend,
I'm
Professor
taking the
Simon
so
Kaiwa.
stylish with a pinch of sarcasm, but well, we will move on.
we shall move for today.
Chirabo has a point though, by the way, Sonko. It is said that whenever women are going through something, they're going to make big changes in their lives. And as one of the victims is usually the hair.
I don't feel attacked. I can assure you I don't feel attacked right now.
You know, I think, you know, on Friday, Chantal is just reminding me of something. Do you know what happened at Uganda Muslim Supreme Council on Friday? Where Haji Chiemba allegedly was sneaked in by police or security into the mosque and then caused havoc. Now there's a function where Mufti Mubaje
Over the weekend.
became very defensive and said, I want to tell the president that if you don't have money, you can't win a case in Uganda, please deliver the message to the president, meaning that whatever transpired in court is because Uganda Muslim Supreme Council never had money to bribe its way through.
To win the case.
To win the case. And when I saw Chantal here and there, because for sure you go through all these levels of court and property is attached, and then as a Mufti of Uganda, you remember that, please tell the president that if you don't have money, you don't win a case in court. And I'm like...
And
he actually criticized the ruling of the judiciary.
Yes,
you
the
can imagine.
judiciary, because you don't have money, that's why we lost. I was like, is this self-defense? Is this the reality of
It could also be an insinuation of something that transpired, but he's not he's not being direct about it.
That's very true, obviously. And of course, we all know that in most cases, when people don't get their way in court, they have a lot to say. So he could be right, he could be wrong, he could be insinuating something, or he could be onto something. But actually, speaking of what happened, also as the people in media and of course people in ICT, we know that there is a new development. The Minister for ICT and Chris Baryomunsi has finally chosen someone, if I may use that word, and of course appointed Nyombi Tembo as the Executive Director for Uganda Communications Commission. So people within this industry, you should know that we have a new, I was going to say governor.
And you know, one interesting thing is, I'm very much pleased with that appointment.
Why?
Nyombi Tembo understands, Honorable Nyombi Tembo understands the media so much. We've ever hosted him, many people, he's been on so many radio stations. He's that person who has been so much into media.
Okay.
And I believe even understands a lot of complications and all those. You know, sometimes when they appoint someone who has directly been involved, I think he has been on a quarter of all radio stations in this country.
But I want to believe
and a quarter
also
of all TV stations.
the acting
very vocal person and very understanding of how the media moves. So I hope some of the challenges may be
But I also want to give credit to the acting, that is Engineer Irene. I think she has done a very good job for the past 2 years as the acting. You could easily see once they announced the new appointment, everyone who has worked with Irene actually came out and revealed that how she had actually changed the entire everything at UCC, and also stepping up, because you're in an acting role for 2 good years. We have no substantive person in there.
You don't know what's going to happen.
You know, you don't know what is going to happen. However much she had also applied for the same, because when they opened up posts for who wants to get into the position, she also had applied, though the appointment found Mr. Thembo. So that is something you can look back and say, well, still, we have to congratulate Irene.
If she held forth for 2 years and did it really well, then yes.
And also promoting local content amongst Ugandan television and radio stations.
Oh, that's true. She has done that. And of course, over the last 2-3 years, we have seen a lot of local content going beyond our borders, especially on stations like Pearl Magic. So we have done a lot. Last year, I got a chance to see her at the Uganda Film Festival. And of course, she re-echoed what Sonko just shared with us, promoting local content. And that is huge, because now the industry is actually growing. But speaking of growth, let's look into what the local news stories have for us.
And we want to start with good news for the people in Butambala and more so within Gombe area, where we saw the Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Robina Nabanja, inaugurate a new healthcare facility valued at 2.4 billion shillings at Gombe Government Hospital in Butambala. The facility consists of 16 staff quarters and a mental and child health ward. Nabanja emphasized government's commitment to improve infrastructure development in the health sector and urged health workers to attend to the public.
Now also, the 16 days of activism started on November 25th, and women and children are the affected and victims for the increasing cases of gender-based violence in Uganda. Experts are worried about gender-based violence, especially in slum areas. Amid Uganda's participation in the global 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, there are concerns over the escalating incidents of gender-based violence despite sustained efforts by various civil society organizations to combat the challenges. Statistics from the police report of 2022 reveal alarming figures, and these are 17,698 cases of domestic violence, 1,623 cases of rape, 8,960 cases of defilement, and 14,693 sex-related cases, with the biggest percentage of those affected being women and children. Mondo Chateka, the Assistant Commissioner for Youth and Children at the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, said International Organization for Migration Baseline Survey report on strengthening social cohesion and stability in slum population in Uganda indicates that urban slums are prone to gender-based violence.
And moving on, air pollution in Kampala remains a big challenge, a danger to city dwellers, especially children, contributing premature death and increase in preterm birth rates. Experts are worried that if the trend continues in Kampala, we are heading for a catastrophe. The World Health Organization, who estimates that air pollution is responsible for more than 7 million premature deaths every year, and contributes to heart diseases, lung cancer, and respiratory infections. Kampala is ranked among the worst air-polluted cities in the world, with its air pollution 5 to 7 times above the recommended World Organization air quality. This, according to a professor from Makerere University School of Public Health, is not only dangerous to human health, but poses a great danger to pregnant mothers and increases risk of preterm birth rate.
Moving on, the stage is set for the transfer of Karimajong power in Moroto, scheduled for today. This transition follows a reduction in the number of ruling group members currently held by the Njimoru, who serves as decision makers in Karamoja. The power will shift among the 3 Karimajong clans, Mateniko of Moroto, Bokora of Napak, and Pian of Nakapiri-Pirit and Bitulak districts. The Njimoru, representing the mountain and zebras, bid farewell in a ceremony at Kipepo Pupo village in Rupa Sub-County, Moroto district. Karimajongo culture leaders reveal that the Gazelles will assume power today, taking on the role of decision makers for the community. Well, that does it for the local news stories. Now moving on to the international news.
Now internationally, Egypt, Qatar and the US are pressing for the truce to be extended beyond Monday, while Netanyahu addressing Israeli forces in Gaza saying nothing will stop us. Netanyahu also told Biden he would extend the temporary truce by 1 day for each further 10 captives released, as 13 more Israeli captives, as well as 3 Thais and 1 Israeli Russian, have been released. Meanwhile, 39 more Palestinian prisoners released as part of the 3rd prisoner captive exchange were greeted by celebrations in the occupied West Bank, where officials say 3,200 Palestinians have been arrested since October 7th and deadly raids continue. Now, more than 14,854 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza since October 7th, with thousands more believed to be trapped in the rubble. In Israel, the official death toll stands at 1,200. Moving on, 3 young Palestinian men have been shot near a university campus in Vermont in the United States, according to media reports. Reports say the incident took place on Saturday evening near the University of Vermont's campus in the city of Burlington. The 3 were identified as Hisham Awatani, Kinan Abdel Hamid, and Tahsin Ahmed. They are studying at They were studying at 3 different universities in the U.S. According to the American Arab Anti-Discrimination Committee, 2 of the victims are in intensive care, while 1 was due to be released on Sunday. We are deeply distressed by the recent incident involving 3 of our graduates, the Ramallah Friends School in the occupied West Bank, where the 3 studied, said in a statement on Facebook. Also, Sierra Leone has declared a nationwide curfew after gunmen attacked a military barracks in the capital, Freetown, according to a government statement after months of post-election unrest in the West African nation. Sierra Leone's president on Sunday said they had repelled the attack at the military's main Wilberforce barracks and were in control of the situation. Information Minister Shanor Ba assured the public in a statement on Sunday that the government and its state security forces are in control. Ba urged citizens to stay indoors as security forces continued the process of apprehending the suspects. Witnesses told AFP News Agency they had heavy gunfire and explosions in the capital early Sunday morning, while a video shared on social media appeared to show plumes of smoke rising from the streets. Matters climate. UK families are paying £605 more for their food than they did 2 years ago, with climate change being the main reason for the high prices, according to researchers. Rising costs due to extreme weather have kept food inflation high throughout 2022 and 2023, even as energy prices decreased. Recent flooding in the UK left cereal, potato and other crop rotting underwater, farmers have said, while extreme heat and drought in Spain has damaged olive harvests and pushed up the price of olive oil by 50%. Other staple products like sugar, rice and tomatoes have been impacted by extreme weather, with food inflation rising to around 20% this spring. It is clear from the evidence that climate change is an increasingly prominent feature amongst the drivers of food price inflation. That is it for climate news and what is happening across different parts of the world.
Thank you so much, Chantal, for that international news report. Now, Jerome Paul Sonko, what do you have for us in the news review, in the press review?
Well, with the press review, the New Vision is highlighting at the front page, police to revive special branch, as Ochola orders supervision of specialized units. Then also self-support, First Lady urges women on financial independence. The New Vision further in the politics, General Kaihura vows to support the MK movement as new tech to handle enlarged prostate. Read about that still with the New Vision. Now, Must and Victoria storm Ultimate University quiz semi-finals. And then also Renzururu King calls on ADF rebels to surrender. That is still with the New Vision. And also a pictorial showing the Karuma adding 200 megawatts to national grid. That is more with the New Vision front page today morning. And then moving further, the Daily Monitor highlights property saga, just comedy, says Mubaje. Read about the conflict within the Muslim community. Then Ministers Chitutu Nandutu return to Karamoja region. Also, in the healthy living, antibiotic resistance can be prevented according to health experts. Now, Balalo eviction from North kicks off as bad roads borders tourist attraction, says Envoy. Then magistrate interdicted overdraft. Still the new, the Daily Monitor gives you details. Now, tour of duty. The Monitor Board bids farewell to MD Glenn Cross, as in the big interview, Matthias Mpuga, here his opposition is born to pick with Parliament. Let's now cross the borders as we start it off with the Daily Nation in Kenya. Now, the Daily Nation is front page highlights talks report splits Azimio. How about that for the leading opposition party in Kenya? The President William Ruto has welcomed the findings of the team. Then also how state will assess your ability to contribute to new health fund. Read that and more in the Daily Nation today. Now, tough times, banks in rare profit dip as loan defaults hit 611 billion Kenyan shillings. Now, KCPE fixed this mess, governors tell NEC. As also floods, Ruto to chair emergency cabinet meeting today as heavy rains wreak havoc countrywide. Now, besides that, let's also have a look at the Citizen from Tanzania. The Citizen from Tanzania highlights how to improve teaching of English in primary schools. Then why ANETH thinks tailor-made tech rules are the answer. Will new financing model end the East African community cash wars? More questions in there. Now, the NMB named biggest, most compliant taxpayer in Tanzania. Transition to political pluralism was rushed. More of the experts are saying. Now, also, still with the press review, we look at the East African newspaper. Now, the bigger headline on the East African newspaper is the new kid on the block. Somalia has been admitted to the East African community, but the real journey begins now as it seeks to put its house in order and domesticate crucial protocols for trade. And then also, it's official, the East African community troops will exit Congo soon as the Viki takes over Kigali cement farm. Now, in the money matters, harvest time for Kenya's big banks as KPLC Ketraco asset swap deal underway. That is what is making the headlines at the front pages of the papers across the region.
That headline you just shared, that means that we are now 8 countries belonging to the East African Community Bloc. And
sadly, though, there are some people from Somalia who are saying they do not want to adopt the use of Kiswahili as a language, because these are all provisions of having Kiswahili as an official language within the East African Community Bloc.
Wow, interesting updates right there. But we will take a short break, and like I said, we are now at a point where it is actually now not criminal to play Christmas carols. And UBC TV will do that just this minute, and we will give you All I Want for Christmas by Justin Bieber.
Talk of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial *165*3# or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free.
In the heart of Uganda, a financial revolution is happening. We were once left out, saving the old-fashioned way, with an unexpected saving spot, keeping it too close for comfort. But now, we found a better way to save and manage money. Download the Wendy app from Google Play or App Store or dial *229#. With Wendy, your money is safe and you can earn interest daily. Visit your Google Play or App Store or dial *229# to register. Wendy, Wanawoli.
Over 1,000 children with disabilities in Uganda every 5 years have not had access to adequate education. And this has been basically due to lack of assistive devices to enable them get reasonable accommodation in schools. Mokisa Humanity and Inclusion Foundation is leading a campaign to fundraise for assistive devices for 500 children with disabilities to get in school in the year 2024. Join us to fundraise for braille machines, slates and styluses, white cane, braille paper, hearing aids, wheelchairs, audiobooks, book recorders, JAWS software, among others on 10th December at Hotel Africana. Register your child with a disability by calling us on 0740 55 04 95 or 0783 91 11 14. Donations from well-wishers are also welcome. Entrance is 100,000, 150,000, 200,000 and a table goes for 1 million shillings. This is sponsored by UBC, Mokisa Inclusive Schools, Mokisa Nursery and Primary School, Herona Hospital, Msafiri Tours and Molia Foundation.
This plan, as the name prescribes, is the project for restoration of livelihood in northern region. So it was designed to support the population in order to implement the national programs of wealth creation, improving household income, and this is done through supporting agriculture. And by supporting agriculture, you support seed production, training of farmers, mindset change, and even it went ahead to have components of food security grants, whereby families were given grants to be able to improve their food security. But there was also community-based natural resources grants, which were given to families to put in place woodlots, which would help them to reduce on clearing the vegetation and deforestation, looking for energy or for firewood.
Well, it is a beautiful morning, and this is Good Morning Uganda. My name is Olive Monica Najuma, and I am joined by Chantal Olive Akandinda and Jerome Paul Sonko. It is known that Uganda is ranking highly, I don't know if we can call it highly, as an alcohol-consuming country. According to reports by the World Health Organization, our alcohol consumption rate is at 75%, and 85% of this is consumption by the youth. The youth are the most abusers when it comes to alcohol. Now, last week, Toro Woman Member of Parliament Sarah Opendi was given leave, presented a bill suggesting that alcohol should not be sold beyond 10 p.m. and that a person that is found liable should be jailed or fined about 20 million Uganda shillings. There is more in this bill, and I would like Sonko to take us through what the bill says. But as a country, we also need to figure out what is the implication of this bill to the economy, because when URA names the most taxpayers in the country, alcohol companies are at the forefront of the people or the companies, organizations that pay the most taxes in this country. So if such a bill is adopted, how is it going to affect us as a country economically? But also, can we pull it off? Or this is just members of parliament making so much noise where it will actually not yield any good results, or where it will not be executed. Well, Jerome Paul Sonko, good morning once again.
Yes, good morning again. And good morning to our dear viewers. Looking into the provisions of what the bill seeks to, to change or to adopt, or what Honorable Sarah Pendi intends to be stipulated in law, is that, like you mentioned, if a licensee in question is a person who is licensed to sell beer or to sell alcohol, is caught selling alcohol past 10 p.m., that is during weekdays, they will have to pay, because in the stipulation it is, you're supposed to sell alcohol from 6 to 10.
In the proposed stipulation.
Exactly. That is from Monday to Friday. So that is how we are running the weekends here. And then, if at all, you're also caught selling alcohol past midnight. Now, it's only during the weekends where they actually add extra 2 hours. So from 10 p.m. to midnight. So if you're caught selling past midnight during the weekends, then you're fined 20 million Ugandan shillings, or 10 years in prison, or both. So there's also a provision of you getting to pay 20 million Ugandan shillings as a fine, and then also going to jail for 10 years. But then there is also another provision in the same, which is suggesting a fine of 4 million or jail of 6 months, or both. This is for anyone who is found purchasing alcohol while dressed in uniform. So this, we are looking at men in uniform here now, UPDF, or what you could call the security agents or agencies. If you are caught purchasing alcohol in a national uniform, then you are likely to face 4 million or jail term of 6 months, or both. So when you look at the same, there is also a provision, that there is also a clause, that is 25(3) of the same law. The bill seeks to impose a 40 million fine or jail term. Now here it is actually extending, or a jail term of a period not exceeding 3 years, or both, for anyone found guilty of selling alcohol to anyone below 18 years of age. Now, to the people who actually sell alcohol, the minister, the Honorable also put it out there that it is going to be a tough time for you, that before you sell out any sort of alcohol, whether it's a wine, spirit, beer, to a young person or to anyone, they will have to avail identification.
I agree to that. Identification
to show that this particular person is of age or is 18 years and above to buy alcohol. And if at all you fail to do that and you are caught by the authorities selling alcohol to a young person, because in this particular incident the young person is 18 years and below, you will be fined 40 million Ugandan shillings as a fine, and then also you'll be given a jail term of a period not exceeding 3 years, or even both. So it is tough times for the consumers, but it does seem like it's also tough times for those involved in selling of alcohol in the country?
So according to the World Health Organization, Uganda is in 5th position when it comes to abusing alcohol. And of course, still, according to a report by the World Health Organization, males domiciled in Uganda take about 19.9 liters of alcohol, and their female counterparts take about 4.8 liters of alcohol. But also, beer takes is the most taken in the country, and it is at a percentage of about 11, and whiskey is at a percentage of 3 point something, but the 89% remaining is now shared by other alcoholic beverages.
Monica,
maybe
also
like Kwete.
There's also an interesting clause that I forgot. That is clause 26, which says that if you're caught selling alcohol using plastics and sacchets, I think we still have those people who actually selling Buvera, and they were actually banned.
They were, but when you get out of especially Kampala,
you will still find them.
You're going to find them,
so if you're caught selling,
areas in eastern and
20
northern
million
Uganda.
fine.
20 million fine.
20 million fine or a 5-year jail sentence.
So
or
now,
both
the biggest question here is actually, when we talk about these fines, are we talking about the retailer who is selling the end product, or we are talking about the manufacturer? Because if the government has banned sachets, who is making the alcohol in a sachet? Are we going to jail the person who sells the sachets in their small bar or big bar, whatever it is, or a shop, or the person who actually is manufacturing?
This is regulating the manufacturer.
I think this one is going to the manufacturer, the one for selling plastics or manufacturing plastics and the sachet. But it's only the other one that is going to the retailer. When you look at selling
hours,
yes, because manufacturers do not supply alcohol in the night.
In the night, that's true.
They normally supply alcohol during
Don't
daytime.
they though? Because you find activations where they are in a bar, there is
that is when they are launching something.
Because it is still selling.
And they are strategic because they are in a bar, because they know they can launch something.
I mean, they're trying to market something. But when you listen to Honorable Sarah Pendi, she mentions that previously there were gaps, and those are some of the gaps now that I think she's trying to close when you try to go through what she's trying to put. And because of the legal, she says there are gaps in the legal framework that are supposed to be regulating the manufacturers and then the manufacture and then the sale of this alcohol. And I think that's the part where you would have the questions on who allows people to manufacture in plastics, who allows the sales, who regulates, who does the checks. Where is UNBS, by the way? In this case,
it has to be somewhere.
It has to be somewhere. Yes. So yes, according to her, there are gaps previously in the legal framework, and that is what she's trying to address. And if I'm to still go further, she says initially this law, the Nguli Act, there was the Nguli Act meant to regulate the manufacture and sale of alcohol. So there is the repealed Nguli in brackets Manufacture and Licensing Act, which regulated the manufacture, sale, and possession of Nguli. Then the Act specifically prohibited the sale and export of Nguli by unlicensed persons and exclusively preserved Nguli as a raw material for distillation of Uganda Waraji by licensed brewers. So you realize the regulation that has been there.
Uganda Waraji or Waraji? Because Uganda Waraji is a brand.
Here it says Uganda Waraji.
Okay, because there are also people who are selling crude Waraji.
They still name it Uganda Waraji because that's actually what you would call local brew in Uganda.
Local brew is a lot. There is Malwa, there is Kwete, there is...
Or maybe it would be better to call it the Ugandan Waraji.
You do research.
research.
No, even on the ground it happens a lot. You will clearly see.
And actually, I've always known Nguli as Waraji.
Personally, I've always known Nguli as the local Kwete, the ones that are locally. Yes, Sogam, the ones I knew as Nguli. But I think moving forward, Nguli is like the local word to mean alcohol.
Alcohol, yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, true. It's the local word to mean alcohol.
Yes.
But now, before we look into the implications of this the proposed Alcohol Control Bill 2023, let's look at the implications of alcohol consumption on the people's lives to begin with, because the member of parliament is coming from somewhere. She didn't just wake up and say, okay, this is something we need to control, let's control it. What are her reasons for wanting alcohol consumption in the country to be controlled?
When you look at our demographics as a country, like you mentioned earlier, 85% of the population, we're talking about the youth, that's 18 to 35 years. And these happen to be the biggest consumers of this very alcohol. And by now, I'm sure someone already sees through and sees what is happening to our youth and what that entails for the country.
Number 5.
And yes, we rank number 5 world over.
Yeah.
And number 5 world over, then 18 to 35, the most productive, group, should be the most productive group of the country, and they are wasting away in alcohol consumption. So it is also said that collectively we consume 12.21 liters of pure alcohol annually.
Pure alcohol, that means it's
pure
the local
alcohol.
brews
Yes,
that we were mentioning.
the one which is very dangerous for your liver, the very, very dangerous one. So according to some of these reasons, you would also look at things like the recent findings also say 71% of alcohol consumers, roughly 3.2 million people in Uganda struggle with alcohol use disorders. 3.2 million Ugandans. And of course, all this is, of course, put on the fact that the existing bill apparently was not doing much. But we can dive deeper. Look at do you know that alcohol could lead to mental illness, brain damage, liver damage, kidney damage, depression. Actually, alcohol depresses the body.
Yes.
That is why someone you will literally have a bad day. For those that really consume too much and mix it up, you're literally going to have a bad day. Alcohol depresses your body. So among very many other things.
There's also that element where she did mention that it also limits productivity.
It does.
It's true. That's why places of work
will tell you
can't drink alcohol is not allowed in the premises.
Because you expect someone to be very productive as early as Monday, but if they did take a lot of alcohol on a Sunday night, that is looking at someone who has just left the bar at 3 in the morning or 4, you expect that person in office by 8. The chances are very minimal for this kind of person to be, exactly,
at that point.
So their mind is not there already. They're already going through the hangover.
And I think that is also in the extremes of the overdrunk. But one thing I know is that even when you've taken, let's say, is it called a quarter of, let's say, UG or any other alcohol beverage, you're not going to be as sharp as the next person. Now, I've had some people from certain professions like maybe medicine or professors, and people say, those ones, even when they drink, they remain sharp. I would like to disagree. Do you guys agree that some people, alcohol makes them sharper than the next person?
To some, it has actually when you sit down with most of the people, especially those with self-esteem issues, most of them tend to use it as a motivator for them. And it's very deadly because at times they become dependent, and addicted to it, to the fact that he cannot reason as much. He or she can't do something important unless they take a sip or two. So that is how it really affects you as an individual. Your mental health more so at that time is already.
So you realize that much as we are saying that maybe it could have the element of it makes you sharper, it actually does not make you sharper. It's a way of hoodwinking yourself, literally.
It's like when you depend on drugs.
Or using a Panadol for a cancer. If your problem is self-esteem, don't use alcohol to cover it up and then do shameless things, if I may say, but go work on yourself. That's the work that is supposed to be done, is knowing where your problem stems from and dealing with it, not covering it up all the time.
If you have a bad skin, don't use makeup to cover up the scars. Get a skin routine.
Thank you.
So to speak.
Yes.
Well, we'd like for you to have an opinion when it comes to the proposed Alcohol Control Bill 2023, and we are asking you to share your opinion on the recently proposed alcohol bill, which proposes a 20 million fine or a 10-year imprisonment for selling alcohol outside permitted hours. Share your opinion on the recently proposed alcohol bill, which proposes a 20 million fine or 20 years in jail for selling alcohol outside permitted hours. The WhatsApp number through which you can reach us is 0709 602 592, and you can also share your opinion on the X app. The hashtag is UBCGMU. So coming back, now we see the effects or the implications of alcohol consumption. And of course, Chantal mentioned that 18 to 35 is the most productive age of a human being. Now, if 18 to 35, 85% of 18 to 35 in Uganda is the age group that is actually abusing alcohol the most, with men taking 19.9 liters and females taking 4.8 liters, and of course abusing beer mostly, and whiskey coming in second, and then 89%, that is no small feat, abusing the other alcoholic beverages. And when we speak about this, when you go down to it, you will realize that this 89% are actually taking crude,
what we call local brew.
Local brew, but we are not even talking about Yomara that you take, communally. We are talking about for lack of a better word, it is also still waraji, but in most cases it is actually not legally recognized. The companies that are distilling this waraji do not have the license to be distilling or even supplying this content to people. And when you go to areas like in eastern Uganda, northern Uganda, and some parts of central, and even all across the country, you're going to realize that many people are buying this because it is cheaper. And according to the proposed law, one is not allowed to sell alcohol in plastics. But if you've gone, let's say, for a funeral outside Kampala, you've seen these being sold in the villages, and we have so many youth that live in these areas. So coming back, after looking at the health implications, let's look at the implications of this bill on the economy. Especially if we are to honor the hours 10 p.m. on weekdays, midnight, over the weekend. What implication are we going to see economically from this bill if it is passed into law?
Well, there's the fact that when you look at last week, Uganda Revenue Authority was naming the top taxpayers. And this time round, when you look at the alcohol brands, they didn't make the top 3. But they still made the top 5. When you look back at Nile breweries and then also look at the Uganda breweries as well, they've been able to, contribute greatly to the revenues of this country through the various brands that they do have. And that is when it comes to the beer. Now, the funny part, though, is when you look at the local brews, we do not have a lot of record of how much they render to the Uganda Revenue Authority, simply because most of them are manufactured locally. However much the consumption also is high when you look at the local brews. But you did mention of the night economy. And one of the key contributors of the rise of the night economy is the fact that during such a time, beer, let's say alcoholic beverages are on demand during that time. And when you're looking at the time frame of how they are limiting the sale, most people get into bars at around midnight. And I think one thing also the Honorable didn't also pay attention to is that not every Ugandan is a 9 to 5 kind of person.
Right.
And not everybody is having a job working Monday to Friday. We have people who actually do contractual jobs, and they either do Saturday, Sunday, or 3 days a week. So that means that particular person still has the time to go in a bar on a Thursday, or even on a Monday. We've seen many people going to bars every Monday, and the bars are really filled up. Now, we also have those who are just who have just returned from abroad. They are on work leaves. We even have Ugandans here who are already on work leaves till January. So these are all people who still go and you know, party as early as Monday. And when you look at the catching hours of a bar or an entertainment place, it's normally around 11. So when you stop the selling of alcohol at 10, that is during weekly days, then that means you're limiting those who start, you know, having their enjoyment hours at midnight going onwards, and that is the time when most of the bars are making money. So that means you are affecting that nightlife economy, or that branch of the nightlife economy. So I think that is something we also need to look at. But then also looking back to, let's say, we have the dealers or the retailers. Even when you go to, let's say, downtown Kampala, Chikubo per se, people who are actually dealing in alcohol or alcoholic beverages, they also tend to make lots of money, and they render a lot of revenue. So this is more to do with the revenue that is generated from that particular space.
I'll give you
of
an
the
example.
Alcoholic part.
I'll give you an example in addition to what you've shared. Uganda Revenue Authority last year said it partly attributed its excessive revenue collection of the third quarter of the financial year 2021-2022 to the resumption of the night economy and the full reopening of the entire economy. They said between January and March, that is 2022, they collected 1.8 billion shillings against a target of 1.823. So they collected about 1.834 against the target of 1.823. So they even went above their target of collection, and with a surplus of 11 billion shillings. And they said that was the strongest quarterly performance for the year, and it was attributed to the nightlife. Now, we know a lot happens when it comes to nightlife, but the common denominator is alcohol. Why do we have a nightlife? People are out. The lady on the street selling chips and chicken is selling to people mostly that are involved in the nightlife. Yes. The boda rider in the night is taking. Where is he picking the people
Even
that
the
he's
Uber drivers.
taking? The Uber drivers. All of this, alcohol is the biggest contributor. Right. So probably the next one is, we have recognized that yes, alcohol has dire consequences on the health of a person, but also we've realized that it is a great contributor to our economy as Uganda. So how do we ensure that it is well regulated? Is the bill the way to go?
Well, it is the way to go in regards to regulations, though some of the regulations are pretty harsh on those in the business part. Because if you are regulating the time when the Ugandans are supposed to be purchasing, or when someone is supposed to sell in a free market economy, then you're limiting you know, the one who is actually making money off it. And then also, as we continue to look at it from the economic angle, where the country wants to ideally cut off the element of over-borrowing and generating more of the domestic revenue, you get to realize that it becomes really harsh if you're limiting the nightlife in that way.
And the taxes remain the same despite...
Exactly, despite how much someone is making.
No, despite the bill, despite the hours being cut down, the taxes remain the same.
So they remain the same, and there are also chances of the taxes even increasing as well as we're heading into the next financial year. But then also looking at the regulation part of it, it is the fact that our alcohol consumption isn't something to celebrate about. When this report came out earlier this year, most of the Ugandans were really excited because they realized that it's That's something to, to feel proud about, having such a huge ranking in regards to the same. So that means the world is over-recognizing us. But then also it is a big worry. That is why regulating it, manufacture and sell, especially when it comes to who is supposed to be buying, especially the young kids or the young children below 18. I think that regulation in particular is a good one to check out.
That's a good regulation. And I have a few views coming through. We are about to wind up this conversation. This one says, good morning, I'm Bob. I totally agree to that plan. Imagine how me, a government worker, alcohol has ruined me. And this one says, good morning, Olive, JP and Chantal. It's quite a smart move if government comes in to regulate alcohol consumption. If there is anything dangerous that is consumed anytime without limitations, that's alcohol. It has affected the country in various ways, like youths nowadays are lazy. They spend most of their time in bars. Domestic violence has increased. Families break up day and night, among others, due to alcohol. Very few people who have control on it, but majority consume it excessively, which is very dangerous. Imagine someone saying, "Kano te kankubye banyongera kala," meaning I'm not affected by this, they should add me more. People deliberately choose to go out of their normal senses. So it needs serious regulation. Question like why, when, what, how, where must come into play. Questions. This is from Cricket Derek Gargamel. And I close by this Dralagu George. He says that bill may become a law, but implementation will be very difficult. People will always find a way to beat the law. A poorly paid enforcement officer won't refuse kitu kidogo. Well, thank you so much for your views. And this is something we can all contemplate on. We need to really ask ourselves, does ranking as number 5 as the most alcohol consumption country really take us anywhere, or it is affecting us, our health, and even our economy and productivity and the future generation? My name is Olive Monica Najuma. Good Morning Uganda continues, and up next is the Good Morning Uganda Tourism Express.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial star 165 star 3 hash or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free.
Over 1,000 children with disabilities in Uganda every 5 years have not had access to adequate education. And this has been basically due to lack of assistive devices to enable them get reasonable accommodation in schools. Mokisa Humanity and Inclusion Foundation is leading a campaign to fundraise for assistive devices for 500 children with disabilities to get in school in the year 2024. Join us to fundraise for braille machines, slates and styluses, white cane, braille paper, hearing aids, wheelchairs, audiobooks, book recorders, JAWS software, among others, on 10th December at Hotel Africana. Register your child with a disability by calling us on 0740 55 04 95 or 0783 91 11 14. Donations from well-wishers are also welcome. Entrance is 100,000, 150,000, 200,000, and a table goes for 1 million shillings. This is sponsored by UBC, Mokisa Inclusive Schools, Mokisa Nursery Primary School, Herona Hospital, Msafiri Tours, and Malia Foundation.
In the heart of Uganda, a financial revolution is happening. We were once left out, saving the old-fashioned way, with an unexpected saving spot, keeping it too close for comfort. But now, we found a better way to save and manage money. Download the Wendy app from Google Play or App Store or dial star 229 hash. With Wendy, your money is safe and you can earn interest daily. Visit your Google Play or App Store or dial star 229 hash to register. Wendy Wanawoli.
Live from UPC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning, Uganda. My name is Irene Alena Misango, and welcome to the Tourism Express, right here where we talk about anything and everything that is Uganda's tourism. Just diving through quickly into the travel news that we had last week. What happened in the travel industry? What was really trending? First, the Uganda Tourism Board once again proved its prowess on the global stage. Just last week, the Ugandan Tourism Board got an award for the Rwenzori, the Source of the Life, at the 35th edition of the World Tourism Film Awards that was hosted in Valencia in Spain. Uganda Tourism Board made this film together with UNDP, with Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities, together with Toro Kingdom, and this film that was premiered last week made it to the 3rd place in the 35th World Tourism Film Awards in Spain. Still just last week, Uganda proudly took part in the 13th Magical Kenya Travel Expo and the 3rd East African Regional Tourism Expo that was held at the Nairobi Kenyatta International Convention Center. But here is the good news. Just mark your calendars. This East African Regional Tourism Expo is going to be held in Uganda next year. So Uganda is set to unfold this regional expo to show what Uganda has to offer, but also to show the unity and diverse opportunities that the region has to offer together with other countries. Still in a night of celebration at Sheraton Hotel, last Friday marked the prestigious Ekula Tourism Sustainable Awards, where tourism champions were honored and given different awards. Among the recognized, I personally received an award of the Young Tourism Personality of the Year 2023-2024. A heartfelt thank you to all the supporters of sustainable tourism. Yeah, let's dive into the attraction. Like, what do we have? What can you do around Kampala in case you're talking about, in case you want to go around Kampala, where can you go? You know, when you have a trip around Kampala, let me tell you, there are some destinations that you cannot miss out. Let's quickly dive into the Gaddafi Mosque. Like, you cannot go around Kampala and don't talk about the Gaddafi Mosque. Welcome to the heart of Kampala, where Old Kampala Hill proudly cradles the National Mosque, a symbol of beauty, spirituality, and architectural marvel. Completed in 2006, this mosque stands as the largest in East Africa and the 2nd largest in the entire continent, surpassed only by the Grand Moroccan Mosque in Casablanca, Morocco. Did you know that 24% of the global population is Muslim? In Uganda, this vibrant community makes up around 14%, drawing 60 to 80 visitors daily to the Uganda National Mosque. A visit here promises a unique blend of religion and art. With a capacity of 15,000 worshippers, an additional 1,100 in the gallery, and 3,500 on the terrace. This skyscraper mosque is a gift from Colonel Muammar Gaddafi of Libya to Uganda's Muslim community. Originally named the Old Kampala National Mosque, its construction commenced in 1972 under Idi Amin. However, political turbulence in 1976 interrupted the process. In 2001, Gaddafi stepped in, completing the mosque as a generous gift to Uganda's Islamic community, officially opening its doors in June 2007, and as Gaddafi Mosque. It was later renamed to Uganda National Mosque in 2013 after Gaddafi's passing. Stepping inside, the mosque unveils a dose of beauty. Soft carpets welcome your feet every step, and intricate designs showcase representations from all the 7 continents. The walls proudly hold 114 chapters of the Quran, a testament to the rich Islamic heritage. Crossing to the ladies section, though slightly smaller, it is a serene space catering to those who prefer to pray from the comfort of their homes. However, the real game is the minaret. Climb its 304 stairs to reach the top, and you will be treated with a breathtaking 360-degree view of the city, standing right at the pinnacle of Kampala. It's an experience that transcends the ordinary. As you explore Uganda, the Uganda National Mosque, let the fusion of religion and art guide you through the journey that goes beyond the physical structure. Join us in embracing this soulful beauty of this iconic landmark in the heart of Uganda. Thank you for joining us. And when you talk about accommodation around Kampala, there are so many A&Bs around Kampala. Maybe if you're from Kabale, or if you're not, if you're from outside Kampala, outside Uganda, and you need to find where to stay, there are several Airbnbs in Mengo. The Kampala city is still the center. Kampala city is a home to very many, the 3-star hotels, 5-star hotels, 4-star hotels. So there is a lot where you can stay around Kampala. Don't be scared of getting where to stay. Lastly, giving you a travel tip about today, please, as you travel around Uganda or any other place, limit as much as possible your baggage. You carry light as you travel around. Thank you so much. Have a good morning. For more information, catch us tomorrow, same time. Next is the business update. Thank you.
Alan, just a quick one. About the award that you won last week, that is on Friday. Congratulations upon that award.
Thank you so much.
Okay. And just briefly, what was it about, and what categories were taking place during the same?
The Kula Sustainable Tourism Awards had several categories, like the Sustainable Tour Company of the Year, the Tourism Ambassador of the Year, Young Tourism Personality. We had the Eco Sustainable Hotel of the Year. We had the Inclusive Sustainable Champion. Okay. You know, it was about sustainable tourism. And then among those very many categories.
That is where you emerged victorious.
You know, you're talking to a celebrity. The Young Tourism Personality of the Year, 2023-2024.
Congratulations.
Thank
indeed.
you so much.
And when you look at that, you can easily see how important it is to visit Uganda and continue seeing the beauty that Uganda has to offer. Speaking of that and more of what is coming up in our business update this morning, though, there is a lot to look out for. But besides that, also do remember, the more you visit Uganda locally as well, is the more you are adding something onto Uganda's revenue. I'm Joram Paul Soko, and it's now time for the GMU Business Update. All right, now with the business updates of the day, innovation met culture when a team of Ugandan engineers was tasked to fabricate the Kyabazinga's royal carriage to transport the newlyweds from church to the reception. Now, the team from Kira Motors delivered the assignment in a record time of less than 8 days, amidst the chants of jubilation at the recent wedding of Busoga's Kyabazinga to the Inebantu. Does also lie a story of skilled workmanship that manufactured the royal carriage. So, for all of you who had questions about who came up with the royal carriage or who were the brains behind it, then there you have it in the name of the Kira Motors, delivering to the expectations of the people of Busoga. But also, besides that, when you look at the fact that it only took them 8 days to come up with the finished product of the same, you can easily see that we are taking the rightful direction when it comes to electronic mobility as a country. Now, the team at Kira Motors had to locally source most of these particular raw materials that ensured comfort, safety, and the elegance that would definitely meet the royal wedding, or what you could ideally identify as the wedding of the century. Now, the project was an arrangement to the kingdom, which hosts the Kira Motor Vehicle Plant at Motal in Jinja District. So Kira Motors Corporation is on the journey to prove itself as a trailblazer manufacturer in automobiles. And well, of course, Kira is also behind the manufacturing of the Kira EVs that we are definitely seeing within the country. Well, then, you could ideally say we are taking the rightful direction. But now, as we are moving further, let's talk local content. This year's Creative and Marketing Symposium focused on the rapid advancements in technology, such as the artificial intelligence significantly influencing day-to-day operations of businesses and organizations. This particular one was organized by the Uganda Advertising Association, where the symposium explored how businesses can leverage technology advancements to compete favorably on the global stage. The 2023 Creative and Marketing Symposium was held on the theme Take Up or Die, unveiling the secret recipe for next generation communication. Artificial intelligence is now a foundational tool in challenging that is the status quo of doing business in science, health, media and agriculture, if you are to look at it. Now, government asks the public to be responsible and developmental at the same time. Now, also the symposium is a precursor of the Silver Banks Awards, a platform to recognize and honor the outstanding achievements in marketing and advertising. And of course, quite many people did walk away with lots of awards during the same night ending this symposium that was also marked to target those in the marketing and advertising world in Uganda. All right, now, furthermore, in the world of business, it's a new week and we are definitely moving with lots of hopes and aspirations as the month of November is also soon coming to an end. Now, let's look at the Ministry of Finance, as the government spending for the recurrent and development expenditure went up to 459.24 billion Ugandan shillings. That is last month in October. This follows the release of Q2 budget expenditure for the fiscal year 2023-2024, which also increased according to new reports. Now, government spending refers to money spent by the public sector on the acquisition of goods and provision of services such as education, healthcare, among other public expenditures to meet the public needs. So that means directly looking at how much government uses while buying or accessing various facilities and equipment in order to disburse of public services to the Ugandans. Now, in the performance of the economy report for October, the Finance Ministry said government expenditure totaled up to 4.3 trillion Ugandan shillings. That is only in the month of October. So the expenses by the government or by the ministry towards various sectors of the economy were all centered around 4.3 trillion Ugandan shillings. Now, this was against the programmed expenditure of 3.8 trillion, implying that the expenditure was 11.8% above target for the month. That is not a good kind of report you would expect, because the target of what government was intending to spend was 3.8 trillion Ugandan shillings. However, the expenditure shoot up to 4.3 trillion Ugandan shillings. Now, the Finance Ministry further revealed that the recurrent spending was 2.4 trillion, that is 0.8% higher than the program for the month. It also added that this was mainly on account of non-wage and non-interest recurrent expenditure. And this further is followed by a significant increase in funds that were released for expenditure for Q2. For the same reason, domestically financed expenditure on development projects was 1.6 trillion Ugandan shillings. The Finance Ministry said this is almost double the programmed amount of the month of 836.7 billion Ugandan shillings, as the government sought to increase execution of development projects. In Q2 of this financial year, the government released 9.1 trillion Ugandan shillings, which is compared to 4.8 trillion it did release in Q1. Now, let's also look down to the domestic revenues in the same space. The Finance Ministry said that the government projected to collect domestic revenue worth 2.1 trillion Ugandan shillings. That was in the month of October. And of this, 1.9 trillion would be tax revenue and 162.39 billion non-tax revenue. The 1.9 trillion was collected during the month, implying a shortfall of 153.08 billion. That is 7.2% below the target of the month, the ministry noted. So the Ministry of Finance did not meet or let's say the Ministry of Finance and the Uganda Revenue Authority did not meet their expected target of revenue collection in the month of October. Will they be able to achieve the same fate in November? Will we be able to remit as much? We shall wait and see, and I'll definitely be here to give you more of the same details in that regard. Now, lastly, from our business update this morning, as you're heading out to make some money, for those who are highly interested in the forex market or to exchange some currencies, this is how you will find the market. This is courtesy of the closure of the forex market by Friday. Now, the US dollar, by the look of things here, is did close by 3,782. That is if you were buying, and then selling was 3,792 for those who are selling at the time. Now, the Great Britain pound buying was at 4,743.00, and then selling was 4,755.54. The euro was buying at 4,125.02, while selling at 4,135.93. The Kenyan shilling was buying at 24.73 shillings, while selling at 24.80 shillings. The Tanzanian shilling was buying at 1.50, while selling at 1.51 Ugandan shillings. Then the South African rand off it, buying was at 200.97 Ugandan shillings, while selling was at 201.50 Ugandan shillings. And well, and if you're going into the forex market, that is how you will find the market as of now. But tomorrow we shall give you how the different currencies have been trading today. With that, we now cross over to Olive Monica Najuma to give us more of what is making way in regards to the traffic outlets.
Well, thank you so much for keeping it. Good morning, Uganda. My name is Olive Monica Najuma, here to help you maneuver through some routes as you head either out of town or into town for work or whatever appointment you may have. Now, we will take a look at that roundabout, which is at the former clock tower. I don't know what it's going to be called after the road construction, but for now we start there, and we are going to take the route into the road that goes to Nsambia, but also goes through Mukwano Road to access the city center or other areas of town. Now, taking a look at Nsambia Road, I see that there are green zones around here. It looks pretty good there. And it indicates that there is a smooth flow of traffic from Nsambia or from Gaba Road joining this road at Nsambia Road, the road that takes you to Mukwano Road. And even at Mukwano Road, as you can see, there is still smooth flow of traffic over there. But don't be too excited so fast, because up ahead, I'm starting to see red zones that are forming up on Mukwano Road, indicating traffic jam that has started to build up. And of course, there is traffic jam that is coming through from Chibuli, and it is coming through Press House Road as it also joins Mukwano Road. Now, still continuing with Mukwano Road, you're going to realize that for those coming to the areas of Ginger Road or maybe Yusufule Road or going the other side of Old Port Bay Road, there is traffic still coming through from Mukwano Road, and it has now started being intense. Also, for those coming through from 8th Street or going that side, both sides of the road indicate traffic jam. Actually, the side that is coming to town is a deep red zone, which indicates that traffic jam around this area, that is on 8th Street, is rather intense for those that are coming to town. But even the people that are heading to the side of 8th Street, we still have a red zone over there, which is indicative of the traffic traffic jam that is going the side of 8th Street. Still going ahead onto 8th Street where it joins Mbogo Road. There is no traffic jam coming through from Mbogo Road, but I can see that Namwongo Road is an orange zone, which is indicative of traffic jam that has built up on that section of the road for people coming from areas of Bukasa and Muyenga using that side of the road. Now coming back to Mukwano Road and that small roundabout there that joins Mukwano Road to 6th, 7th Street and also to Access Road, I see traffic jam that is coming in from Station Road, but it is not intense, though when it joins Access Road then it becomes intense. So you know that small roundabout right there, right before Ginger Road traffic lights, yeah, that one can actually be so jammed up that you might lose some bit of time. Now looking at still the surrounding streets, I'm looking at 7th Street and there is intense traffic coming through from 7th Street. It is a deep red, meaning this is the kind of traffic that costs you some bit of time, where cars are almost not moving at all. And it goes on and on. The whole of 7th Street, as you can see, is traffic jam intense this morning for both the people coming through and the people going the side of 7th Street. It's a long stretch actually. It looks like the entire 7th Street this morning has intense traffic jam. So if that's the route you want to take or where you're headed, please be advised, because I'm only seeing the green zone on the tail end of 7th Street, and it is even not that long before the traffic jam comes through once again. And of course it goes on until where Main Access Road joins 7th Street. That's where you're going to find a green zone where you will encounter smooth flow of traffic. So that area, if it's the one you're heading to or coming from, please organize your mind. Get ready to spend a bit of time on the road. Then I also see some traffic jam coming in through from 6th Street, but 6th Street compared to 8th and 7th looks pretty good. There is smooth flow of traffic. There are a few orange zones over there, but nothing to be worried about. You won't lose even 10 minutes on this road. But if you use 7th and 8th Street, unfortunately you're going to be held up in traffic for quite some time. Now I would like for us to come to the middle of Ginger Road and have a look at other roads and see how they are doing this morning. Now there is traffic jam coming through from Old Port Bell Road up until the Ginger Road roundabout, but still the biggest section of Old Port Bell Road has smooth flow of traffic this morning, as evidenced by the green zones we can see on our screen. Now 3rd Street also looks pretty good as it feeds into Old Port Bell Road. So if that's probably, if you're coming from the areas of Namwongo, you could consider using this as opposed to the 7th, 8th and 6th Streets. Now coming back still to town, Wampeo Avenue has a bit of jam coming in from the roundabout, but when you continue ahead, it is only green zones that I am seeing, meaning you can be able to move smoothly. Now going back to the Kampala Ginger Highway from the roundabout at Ginger Road, continuing in town, I see that it is a green zone all the way through. Even the sections where Lugogo Bypass meets Ginger Road, it doesn't look bad at all. So you won't lose time. And continuing ahead with Ginger Road, we are going to encounter some bit of traffic jam from where Ginger Road joins Old Port Bell Road. And of course, going ahead around Kagate tax stage, there is a bit of traffic jam there, and there is a deep traffic jam zone that I am seeing as still Kampala Ginger Highway joins the Nakawa Ginger Road. And of course, there is traffic jam that is coming in from Tinda Road, but up ahead I see red zones coming through, traffic jam coming in from the areas of Nakawa and it is on both sides of the road. So please be advised that on this section of the road, you're going to spend quite some time, because as you can see, it's a long stretch coming in from Nakawa side, Banda side, bringing in intense traffic on the main Kampala-Jinja Road highway. So here, I see people losing even 30 minutes in traffic jam. And remember, there is that report that said that Ugandans lose plenty of time in traffic jam, both the traffic they experience in the morning and the traffic jam they experience in the evening, but also in like the certain hours of the day. You will realize that there are roads where you find intense traffic jam around 1 p.m. I think people are going for lunch. I don't know why, but for some reason, some roads have intense traffic jam around lunchtime hours. Well, as you start your week, I wish you luck. And again, I beckon you to be careful on the road. Mind the safety of yourself and the safety of other road users. Now, if you are a pedestrian, you also have a responsibility to be vigilant on the road. The old ways of crossing the road still apply. Look on the left, look on the right, before look on the left again, and then cross. And also, you need to be off your phone. I see people texting while walking. Cars don't have eyes. So you need to be really vigilant for yourself and other people, whether you're riding a boda, whether you are on a boda. If your boda rider is trying to hit a red light, you have a right to stop them. You have a right to tell them no. You have a right to tell them it is not us moving, and they will listen if you take control, because your life is your life. No one else is going to safeguard it for you. Well, good morning, and I'm hoping that you have a beautiful new week. Up next is the Good Morning Uganda agenda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial star 165 star 3 hash or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free.
Over 1,000 children with disabilities in Uganda every 5 years have not had access to adequate education. And this has been basically due to lack of assistive devices to enable them get reasonable accommodation in schools. Mokisa Humanity and Inclusion Foundation is leading a campaign to fundraise for assistive devices for 500 children with disabilities to get in school in the year 2024. Join us to fundraise for braille machines, slates and styluses, white cane, braille paper, hearing aids, wheelchairs, audiobooks, book recorders, JAWS software, among others, on 10th December at Hotel Africana. Register your child with a disability by calling us on 0740 55 04 95 or 0783 91 11 14. Donations from well-wishers are also welcome. Entrance is 100,000, 150,000, 200,000 and a table goes for 1 million shillings. This is sponsored by UBC, Mokisa Inclusive Schools, Mokisa Nursery Primary School, Herona Hospital, Msafiri Tours and Malia Foundation.
In the heart of Uganda, a financial revolution is happening. We were once left out, saving the old-fashioned way, with an unexpected saving spot, keeping it too close for comfort. But now, we found a better way to save and manage money. Download the Wendy app from Google Play or App Store or dial star 229 hash. With Wendy, your money is safe and you can earn interest daily. Visit your Google Play or App Store or dial *229# to register. Wendy, Wanawoli.
Junko. Yo. What you go? Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Uganda, haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, it is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Junko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
This plan, as the name prescribes, is the project for restoration of livelihood in northern region. So it was designed to support the population in order to implement the national programs of wealth creation, improving household income, and this is done through supporting agriculture. And by supporting agriculture, you support seed production, training of farmers, mindset change, and even it went ahead to have components of food security grants, whereby families were given grants to be able to improve their food security. But there was also community-based natural resources grants, which were given to families to put in place woodlots, which would help them to reduce on killing the vegetation and deforestation, looking for energy or for firewood.
A lovely morning to you and much thanks for being with us on UBC TV. I'm Robert Chirabo Nyonyintono. Welcome to Good Morning Uganda Agenda. I must say it is really a cold morning, and yesterday I had something similar to Houston, but I don't know really in your area how heavy these rains were, but in some parts I'm sure it rained cats and dogs. But above all, I cannot forget to thank you for being part of the show. Now, this morning I have a very interesting guest regarding that topic of discussion. He's a professor of agriculture, very prominent in the field of the academia in this country, but also a politician. He was the leader of the opposition in Parliament, in the 8th Parliament, that is from 2006 to 2011. He's a member of the FDC. Which faction? I don't know if Najana Kumbi or Katonga, but that is not the debate for today. However, what we want to discuss this morning is the impact of the opposition boycott in Parliament. If you remember very well, we've had weeks where the opposition in Parliament has not been part of the plenary. We once saw the Speaker of Parliament threatening to evoke some sections of the law that where a member of Parliament misses 15 consecutive sittings, then he or she can lose his seat in Parliament. But last week she also came out and urged the Speaker or directed the clerk to Parliament to ensure that these MPs who are boycotting do not participate in any parliamentary work, including the East African Parliamentary Games, to have their names removed on the list of those that are going to represent Uganda. Now, the leader of opposition in the 11th Parliament, Mathias Mpuga, had a press conference and also had a lot to say. I have Professor Ogenga Latigo this morning. I'm humbled and honored to have you, Professor. Thank you for abiding and honoring our invitation.
Thank you very much, Robert, and good morning, viewers of UBC television. I used to be a common figure on UBC television, but times change. I'm largely now in Agago, and I also find moving within Kampala very difficult. If I was sounding very reluctant to come this morning, it is my fear of the jam in Kampala and the nature of the roads. But I'm glad that I'm here, and I'm glad for the opportunity to converse with Ugandans.
Now, Honorable, to start with, Professor, when you were in Parliament, we had about 2 boycotts.
Yes.
During your time as leader of opposition.
Yes.
When we talk about boycotts, I was trying to look through the rules of procedure. Of course, each parliament drafts its own.
Yeah.
But I didn't find anywhere where a boycott is mentioned as a means of resolving, as a means of debating or discussing.
Well, boycotts, as I think even the leader of opposition now said, emanates from the Constitution. It's a constitutional right. It doesn't have to be spelled out in the rules of procedure of Parliament.
That's where you disagree, then you can have a boycott.
The rules of procedure merely provides for how to conduct business in the House, not outside the House. And there are times when issues that you could discuss in the House have greater importance outside the House. And adopting a boycott, like we did in our time when the Black Mamba invaded the courts of law, when some of our members were arrested and even charged with all kinds of crime, we knew that this was not an issue in Parliament. This was a countrywide issue, and we went out to the people. We walked out of Parliament, and we did our things from outside.
And if I remember very well, I stand to be corrected, but your moving out then lasted for over a month.
Oh yes, it did. It did, and it was one of those amazing things, because at that time the opposition as an official body in Parliament was new. And so when we walked out, we decided we would go and visit some of our people who were in Luzira. We went to Luzira, we were denied access, except me and 1 or 2 other people, access to our members who were in prison in Luzira. We had rallies in Kampala, in Kamucha, and all these places. And in fact, when we requested a meeting with the judiciary, the then, how do you call it, the chief clerk wrote back, said, you can come, but you don't bring the journalists. And I wrote back and I said, we requested to visit as Parliament. We have no control over the offices of the judiciary. What happens there is not our responsibility. And then we go in there. Justice Ogola received us on behalf of the judiciary and other officials. And then we had a prepared statement. So we gave him the prepared statement. And the prepared statement was really in support of the judiciary. Oh. And then when he looked at that quickly, he said, no, you call the media before we call. And they called the media. Oh. And then we read, and we discussed and left. We went to Human Rights Commission. We had a very bad reception from the lady chair that time. And when we returned to Parliament and we made our statement at return, I had very strong words on her. But the speaker said, look, this person is not outside Parliament. We cannot discuss her. I said, no, we are reporting what transpired. So it is a means. And by the way, that particular boycott had such a huge impact on the country, because we became, the issues that got us out became matters of debate, and that is how the accusations against us, even the PRA suspects came. And the other interesting thing was when we came back, and Minister Uganda, Prime Minister Uganda, was then Minister of Internal Affairs. One day he came with a statement on the PRI suspects. And when he read the statement, I got up, and I had this, a little politics, I said, I thought you were trained by Obote and you had tact. Even Obote in his grave would be disappointed with you. But we will not honor your statement with a debate. And that had a huge, huge impact.
Now,
so the opposition are not only just members of Parliament. As opposition, they strive to let the country see that they are better capable of leading the country. And to be able to do that, you must talk to the country through what you do in the House and the utterances that people hear from you.
Now, Professor, that said, of course, having taken our viewer back to understand that, yes, this has ever happened, it's not the first time, or is it only in the 11th Parliament? Now, when all this is done, the big question here is, we know in a multi-party dispensation, the game of numbers plays so much.
Yeah.
Now, we've not had history since we went into multi-party dispensation of any parliament where the opposition has majority of the numbers. It's always been NRM. Don't you think that you're merely playing, or the opposition merely plays a game of just activism, politics? Because one would believe, as members of the opposition in parliament, you still have so much opportunity to dialogue and use any other methods. But this just seems more quick, faster, and giving you political mileage.
No, well, you see, normally these things, for example, the challenge that made us walk out, were not things in Parliament. So how would we merely stop in Parliament in dealing with the matter? And then if you bring it to what is happening
today, yes.
Yes. Those arrests, the non-accountability for people who were arrested are not matters in the House. The events that took place outside the House. But Parliament members have three roles: to legislate, appropriate, and to oversee. And oversight is normally the job of the opposition. Overseeing government in the things they do. And so when the opposition demands That is part of oversight. When committees of parliament ask government and ministers, that is part of oversight. And it is a very legitimate and entrenched practice in all Western-type parliaments.
Where does this leave the electorate who sent you? Yes, we'll talk about the oversight, as rightly you have said, though still there are many that believe this may be the last resort. Do you believe that all the times you've had boycotts, most of the people picture this current boycott, this is the last that the opposition can do? Well, has exhausted other avenues?
Well, if you listen, I'm not in the House, but if you listen to the opposition leadership, these are issues that they ask government to provide accountability.
And government re-initiated an investigative committee into these matters.
Exactly. And even, I don't think that it would have reached the kind of things that it reached if at that moment...
They had a 30 days ultimatum.
No, before that. If the presiding officer, for example, with the Honorable Zake raising this matter, because, you know, things cascade. The presiding officer then, the Deputy Speaker, Right Honorable Tayeba, could have nipped that if it is mischief in the bud, by just allowing Honorable Zake to speak and finish what he wanted to say, and he will say, I don't see the Prime Minister here. So, because this matter is so grave, I'm asking that the Prime Minister comes and makes a statement tomorrow. There would have been no walkout. So, while we look at the opposition, the totality of parliament is the opposition, the guys on the government side, and the presiding officer. All of them must know that their role is to create harmony, because that is only one institution. And to create harmony, you must be able to be quick in your assessment of things, to even make decisions that can allow you tomorrow to point a finger at somebody, or to keep quiet and call others quietly and talk to them. Now, I am not Right Honorable Sekandi, who was the speaker there, used to do it very differently. And I was leader of opposition when the late Professor Apollon Sibambi was the Prime Minister and leader of government business. And people used to see, sometimes debates become very hot in the House. And Right Honorable Sekandi in Sibambi would signal for me. And we walk behind the speaker. And then he says, what about this? And I said, you know, this is the position.
But during your time as leader of opposition, there are some opposition members that felt either you had betrayed them or you were so lenient. I'll give you an example. I think it's when we had a debate on whether the UPDF should go to Somalia. The opposition had a stand by then of not supporting government to go to Somalia. Yeah. You then came out, I think it was in the morning, with a press statement in favor of government letting UPDF go to Somalia, which is, Ogenga was a bit either, would I say, objective neutral or had been neutralized by government.
No, you see that again, and this is the challenge of our opposition. In the UK, the leader of the party is in parliament. The leader of government, the Prime Minister, is in parliament. But ours, you find that the leaders of parties are outside parliament. And on the issue of Somalia, for example, the position was, the party position, we don't deploy.
Yes.
But we knew that if we took that position, it would harm us as Ugandans elected to represent the country. And so I got in touch with the Minister Kionga. Actually, it was him He was then defense minister. And he said, Professor, why are you people opposed to this? I said, Mr. Minister, how do you expect us to support you when you don't inform us on what is going on? And Kionga brought all IGAD protocol and all this, and we sat in my office until 2 a.m. I went through the documents, I summarized them. The country had already been committed itself at a regional level to deploy in Somalia. I mean, even if we opposed, we would not change that, but we would even look more stupid. Because as government, if we went to government, we will also go into such agreements. And we expect that when, as government, we also make such agreements, those agreements must be respected. And so we, in the end, and by the way, in my time, we had senior people, John Kawanga, Ben Wacha, Cecilia Ogwal, you know, very senior citizens. They quickly saw the point. And when when
you had that press conference in the
when we had an opposition meeting first, and I presented to them, and I said, this is the position. They said, no, there's no debate. You just go and prepare a press statement and call the press. Then we had a big press conference, and we said, we support the deployment in Somalia. But it was objective. Even when we walked out, it was objective. And even when these people, the opposition now walked out, it is objective. Deal with it. Deal with the issue. Don't bring in so many other things.
Now, the big question, Honorable, well, first remind our viewers that you can be part of the topic of discussion this morning by simply using the number on your screen. Give me your name. Please don't send a text message without your name. I'll not read that. It's a humble request to you. Give us your name, if possible, even where you are watching from, and the number is just on your screen. I'll ensure that I read out the message to my guest, Professor Ogenga Latigo, who was the leader of opposition in the 8th Parliament. Now, the big question is, what is the impact of all this? Because by and large, parliamentary work will go on. Plenary, if thereby comes any serious bill that needs voting, still it will go on. The numbers, the absence of opposition in parliament does not hinder parliamentary work. To me, I look at it as just a moral ground that anyway, with divergent views.
It should.
So what is the impact of all this? If it's not for political capital, cheap politicking.
No, it should. You know, in our times, when we walked out, Right Honorable Sekandi made sure that critical issues that required both sides of the House to be present were never presented in the House. Yes, because there's no House in a multi-party bicameral parliament. There's no House in session where the opposition is not there. It's just simple. And rather than let Parliament seem to be redundant, he made sure that small matters that have nothing to do with a national demand were discussed. Matters of personal interest and things like that. But legislation, Right Honorable Sekandi made sure there was no legislation on the floor. In fact, the legislation that were on the floor were suspended until we returned. Because even when you make good laws and you make it on a one-sided basis, the moral legitimacy of that legislation dies.
I love the word you've used, Professor, the moral legitimacy.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, what can only hinder that from happening is lack of quorum.
Yes.
If it is raised. If NRM has the numbers that have the quorum, then it is allowed. You can't challenge it anywhere.
And there's nothing in the rules that says that when opposition boycott, you cannot legislate. But, you know, circumstances like that allows people then to define who you are. You, on the government side, whether you are really nationalistic or you are just petty politicians, the leadership of parliament, whether they are above board, and as presiding officers are like parents who know that this child is wrong, but if I go on him, he will get angry because his brother accused him. And you'll find a process of allowing a resolution of the matter, but while keeping harmony amongst your children. And that is what leadership is about.
Now, Professor, earlier on you said this could have better been handled. We see the opposition members of parliament, right from 5th October, we had the arrest of Robert Chagulanyi, then there came the alleged 18 missing persons, and opposition in parliament using this to pressure government. Now, we saw a meeting between the speaker and the Minister for Security, Minister for Defense, and of course, a bit of people in the opposition. Now, in this meeting, it was agreed that let's have 30 days that government reinstates this committee, then they will come and report before parliament. Those expired on the 19th. And the speaker then came to parliament and informed members of parliament. The critical ministers, I think, had other commitments. So they wouldn't. It was supposed to be last Tuesday, actually, that they had to report back in case of anything, that they would be absent. Opposition continues and saying, as long as this is not, so how best? Because government showed commitment.
Look, the Speaker of Parliament has no business defending government for what they are doing. That is the business of government.
There should be an arbitrator between the two.
The Speaker has a mandate to say, this report will appear on the order paper on this date. And I don't care who will present the report, but government must present the report, period. But when you start giving excuse that the minister is away, you become part of one side of the house, and your impartiality as the speaker is undermined. If I were the speaker, I would say it is fine. We agreed on 19th. Let it be on 19th. And to confirm, I want your report on my desk on 18th. And on 18th, you get the report and you invite the opposition and say, government has presented, they have prepared their statement. So tomorrow be there. Now, if government do the speaker and they don't appear, the resolution of the walkout has not been undertaken. And so the walkout will continue. And you will not blame the opposition for it.
Now, talking about not blaming the opposition, the speaker came out and said she will evoke these laws. Said she is not aware that these members of parliament are out because she never got any formal. And the laws are clear that if you miss 15 consecutive sittings without writing to the speaker explaining valid reasons of why you're absent, the process can continue.
No.
These members if they hit this number of sittings, the speaker has no written. Honorable Robert Chirabo has not informed the speaker why she's not out, why he's not coming to parliament.
You see, the problem with that position of the speaker are two. One, the walkout happened under our deputy. And it is our deputy that knows everything that had been happening until she came and took over presiding of the house. For her to demand would require going back to parliamentary records. And she would have said that I was not presiding, but according to the answer on this day, this is what happened. That is the framework that would justify legally and morally, I'm making the demand. Secondly, I only left Parliament this 2 years ago, and I was on the Rules Committee. The parliamentary rules says if you are absent without reasonable cause, these members who are absent, they never made individual decisions. The opposition, as a bloc in Parliament, made a decision to boycott Parliament. You cannot hold the individuals responsible for the collective decision.
But does the law factor in opposition as a group? Or
oh yes, because there are two sides of the house. And she's dealing with the official opposition, by the way. With the leader who is facilitated, just like government facilitates almost the prime minister. And she must recognize that. There was absolutely no basis for her making that assertion. By the way, even during the time of Honorable Rebecca Kadaga, Semugerere and the Olums went to court and got a provision on the movement, something knocked out, and government petition. And the speaker even made a statement, and they lost that case. So what is happening, the speaker must bear in mind the fact that she is strictly guided by the rules of procedure of the House. Her sentiments merely soil her standing as the speaker. She must deal with the issues as the law provides. And secondly, as speaker, she must be completely impartial. And anything, you know, those days, even when Sekandi would want to arrange a meeting between the opposition and government side, he would do it quietly. He would never do it on the floor. Because it's not a show business, it is real. And when you do that, we are all humans. If you think you can treat me like a child and you didn't bring me to Parliament, I'll treat you for what I think you are.
Now, Professor, let's take a look at some of the comments that are coming in from our viewers this morning. Well, good morning, Uganda. The Speaker has to accommodate both parties and treat them equally. I didn't get your name. Please, if I don't have your name, I may end up not reading your message. Now I have, this is Opio, Evelyn from Kumi. The majority of MPs in Parliament is from the ruling party, and therefore the opposition member's voice cannot be heard. The Speaker should see ways of bringing back those members of Parliament who are out so that they can settle issues and continue with legislation. Well, please, let's make this shorter. Wow, this is too long. Emma from Lila, my suggestion is running away from Parliament does not cause any change. Let the law of not attending prevail. I mean, Professor Atigo is still respected and we respect his views. The rules of procedures should prevail. Good morning, UBC. I'm John Tukey from Kampala. The Speaker's decision is very impartial and, well, cause opposition members are no longer doing their duty but rather wasting time to be seen on camera and streets. They think that by doing this they will, okay, at the end of it, it talks about political capital and all that. And for now, I am Paul from Luka. In my opinion, I think that the opposition boycott is wastage of time. And it is wrong. 18 people missing is something huge and shouldn't be under now. My brother, I think there is a, he's saying, I think the opposition boycott is a wastage of, that the opposition boycott is a waste of time. Is those, I think I want to say, those that think the opposition boycott is a wastage of time. 18 people missing is something huge and shouldn't be underestimated. These are Ugandans missing. Opposition is right. Well, let's first end with those for now. Let's have professors' opinions on that. Now, we have, if we look through the messages, there are those that are in favor of this boycott, and others that believe are members of opposition are simply carrying out activism, garnering political mileage here because they know this may sound better, huge, and this our politics has also gone into where, I don't want to use the word violence, but defiance and such issues create more political mileage.
Well, first of all, I would like to rebut the gentleman from later. He's talking to somebody who knows the rules of procedure very well. The rules of procedure doesn't allow the speaker to make that demand.
Sure?
Yes. When Zake was censored, I was on television and I told them they will lose the case. And they lost the case. So I know what I'm talking about. Secondly, you are talking about politicians, for heaven's sake. First and foremost, their life is politics. The other ones are by the ways. I can tell you that in our times when we were in Parliament, sometimes I remember like the computer, there was a bill, the computer thing. There were only 4 of us debating. The Attorney General, me, Honorable Odongauto, and the chair. And the rest of the House were there. So let nobody think that once you're in Parliament, you even have the capacity to create heaven for this country. Most of the people don't have that capacity. And unfortunately, in America, what they would do, they call you a junior member. Unfortunately for our Parliament, somebody just comes and is already put chair of committee. In America, to become chair of a committee, you must go through the ranks. Their seniority, that is recognized. Because that forces people to learn. If I want to be chair, I want my record of attendance of committees and of the House to be good. So that when I'm nominated, nobody will say, this guy is useless. That's not what is happening in that Parliament. And if you ask how many of the 500 members speak enough for you to say, I recognize so-and-so as MP for Agago.
And actually, even in this Parliament, they will have dominant voices.
Yes.
That you'll already see them.
Yes.
The likes of, you would wonder if there are only people even in Parliament.
So to trivialize a matter like the lives of people, given how these members came to this Parliament, the last election was very violent. And we have the next election just 2.5 years away. Anybody who thinks and cares about the country would want to act in such a way as to try and bury what happened in the last election and create a new atmosphere that allows us to go into the next election with greater peace. And that means even if these guys were posturing, you must have a thick skin and be above them. And let the country then see that you have done your best, even bending over. And people will quietly tell them, no, I think you should end your boycott. It's no longer looking good. But when you even, I saw people talking about lunches in the House. Can you imagine? In the parliamentary canteen. When you reduce boycott about the freedom and probably the lives of individuals to meals in the canteen. It is very insulting to Ugandans.
Now, let me also, Professor, we've had voices, I've also a number of politicians who say, if the opposition is really serious, this is on a lighter note, let them even boycott allowances, boycott payment, and make this serious. But this issue of, this is just political because you're not totally into it. I had one senior member, of course he left the house, but he has been in parliament, he was in the CA, and he said, no, if it was a serious boycott, why then are they getting all these privileges and yet saying they have boycotted?
Well, they earned it at the election. So don't question their emoluments. If you didn't want them to get emoluments, don't elect them. Once they're elected, you cannot discriminate that they don't get.
Because they're out.
Because they are boycotting, and the NRM, who should have resolved the matter, should get because they are not boycotting. Because it is the government of the NRM that is to account for those people. So why would you allow their members to get emoluments and the opposition don't get?
Just going to read now the text messages, also to look at our viewers from that side. Please, let's make these messages a bit short. I kindly request you.
There are strong sentiments about this.
For this, okay, good morning UBC, good morning Uganda. I appreciate the honorable visitor for his good views. For sure, Mr. Chidabo, these days we no longer have opposition with good intentions of national service. Their main interest is to see government failing and just showing up in the media that they open challenges. Professor, that one is there. Good morning, Chirabo and Professor. Now, to the issue of the boycott, I think is what the government wants, not the opposition, because it is as simple as tabling their demands. Opposition only to start revoking rules that will put them away from plenary. That won't help on the missing people. Now, you've gotten the two sides. One is in favor of this moving out, and the first that I read through text messages was also for it was criticizing this.
You see the difficulties, even in people commenting, reflects the difficulty our politics faces. And by the way, Ugandans should take some comfort. If there are people who watch US politics and the stupidity that you see in that house, in Congress. Those are Wazungus, very wealthy people. You saw that the former speaker was supposed to have hit a colleague. Another congressman from New York is about to be thrown out because he claimed he studied in universities that he never went to. And in America, decent people are abandoning politics. And I can say the same thing. If I ask myself, what would I be doing in this parliament? What would I be doing?
Professor Gengalati?
Yes.
What would you be doing in the 11th parliament? You don't see yourself there.
What would
with that crop of politicians?
Oh, man. Because what contribution can we make? Because the voices of reason will not be heard. The voices of aggression from all sides will be heard. In the end, the country suffers. And fundamentally, that is the challenge. While we look at the opposition, the bigger picture is Ugandan politics. We made our politics degenerate to us and them. And where will we end? Because in the us and them, there's only one board, the Ugandan board.
Professor, we must move out of here, but let me just have your parting shot.
My view is that the leadership of Parliament should find space to let this matter calm down. And it would be good if the Speaker can organize meetings, not with outsiders, key members of the opposition and key people in government. And they talk about these things and agree on a common way forward and probably make commitment on how to proceed so that whatever we do between now and the next political time allows the country to have a peaceful election. I never use the word free and fair because that doesn't mean anything. But if you can have a peaceful election where losers feel they lost, but they have nothing to blame, and winners feel they won and they have a responsibility to exercise, it will move our country forward.
Well, I just want to thank you so much. But before I let you go, Professor, you're in FDC. Are you Najana Nkumbi or Katonga?
No, I am. The last election, I actually stood as an independent. And by the party rules, I ceased to be a party member.
Okay.
But I hold a lifelong membership. And that lifelong membership cannot be cancelled by anything.
Now, in this challenging situation to the party where you have a life...
Oh, well, I made my views very clear because, by the way, you don't talk about which factions because Besije and Nandala were very close. When I was being fought in FDC, they were together. This is just guys who eventually got left alone and their bad habit caught up with them.
You've not answered my question.
I have answered you.
There are two sides, Professor, once again.
There are no two sides. There's only one side.
There is Najana Nkumbi, there is Katonga. We must get out of
here, Professor. They are the two sides of the opposition, of FDC. The other side, which is not in that dispute, is me, Muntu, and all those who wanted to take the party in a holistic manner.
We must get out of here. I may not have a conclusive answer from my guest. Ruben is ready to take you through sports updates. Thank you so much, Professor.
Thank you.
See you in the next hour.
In the heart of Uganda, a financial revolution is happening. We were once left out, saving the old-fashioned way, with an unexpected saving spot, keeping it too close for comfort. But now, we found a better way to save and manage money. Download the Wendy app from Google Play or App Store or dial *229#. With Wendy, your money is safe and you can earn interest daily. Visit your Google Play or App Store or dial *229# to register. Wendy Wanawoli.
Over 1,000 children with disabilities in Uganda every 5 years have not had access to adequate education. And this has been basically due to lack of assistive devices to enable them get reasonable accommodation in schools. Mokisa Humanity and Inclusion Foundation is leading a campaign to fundraise assistive devices for 500 children with disabilities to get in school in the year 2024. Join us to fundraise for braille machines, slates and styluses, white cane, braille paper, hearing aid, wheelchairs, audiobooks, book recorders, JAWS software, among others, on 10th December at Hotel Africana. Register your child with a disability by calling us on 0740 55 04 95 or 073 91 11